Good afternoon, everyone. I think I'm blinded by the lights ever so slightly, but I think it's very good to see some familiar faces and some new ones as well. So thank you for joining us for our session today. My name's Ben Hardy. I'm a stakeholder engagement lead in the school's commercial team. And today we're here to talk to you about commercial support for your schools and trusts, focusing in the energy and banking, so financial services space. In terms of just setting some of the context before I hand over to a couple of my colleagues who will provide more detail on each of these areas, the school's commercial team, we're dedicated to helping schools and trusts achieve the best value for money when purchasing goods and services. So quite a few of these initiatives you may have heard Susan Dawson, our director, refer to in this morning's session, and you'll probably be fairly familiar with these. So Get Help Buying for Schools, which is our free and impartial procurement support for schools, and the risk protection arrangement, which is our alternative to commercial insurance. We support through a whole host of ways, whether that be through published buying guidance, working with professional bodies, a find a framework tool, which then also leads in really nicely to Get Help and that procurement advice and guidance that you can get from the team, and a whole host of webinars to support on that space. So that's kind of the context of who we are, and I'm joined by a couple of colleagues today who are going to talk through in a bit more detail about a couple of newer initiatives that we are working on to support you and your schools. So today what we're going to cover is a bit of background on the DFE Energy for Schools pilot, and then how that's then evolved to be the DFE Energy for Schools support that we'll be able to talk through, and then also a little bit on the energy cost recovery service, which is available to you. And then my colleague Chris will come up and talk through some of the initial work that we've been doing on financial services and banking solutions. We will have some time at the end for your questions, so please do think of any of those as we're going through the session. What we'll do is we'll talk through both areas of work first, then take questions at the end. And we're also available on the stand afterwards as well, so we know that we're just coming up to a refreshments break after this, so please do come and grab us.
Afternoon, everyone. My name's Tony Pickstock. I'm part of the school's commercial team, and I'm a commercial lead within the department. My background is, as Ben's just mentioned, has predominantly been with the risk protection arrangement, and I've been involved in that since its inception in 2014. And over the last 12 to 18 months, I've been brought in to the DFE Energy Pilot to bring my experience in terms of helping schools on board to our DFE Energy Pilot, which I'll go on to talk about in the next few slides. So our pilot's got three main aims, as you can see on the slides. It's about risk reduction, simplification, and savings. And the risk reduction is around two key areas, really. It's around the volatility in the market prices, but also around the risk of you dealing with the suppliers and the brokers, and predominantly you will probably all deal with a broker or a third party who are actually unregulated. So I think that's a key point to get across. And then obviously the simplification, we're looking to support you guys and provide a wraparound service in terms of joining our pilot and helping you on board to our service. And then thirdly, and maybe most importantly for you guys, is around managing your budgets and achieving savings for your energy supply. But not only about energy supply, it's all about saving your time and resource as school business managers and finance officers within trusts, to give you some more time back to worry about other areas of your school business other than energy, which can be quite complicated. So talking about the risk, this slide just presents the volatility in the energy market. Obviously the big spike you can see there on the slide is the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and everyone's energy went through the roof. And in actual fact, unfortunately for a fair amount of schools, probably around 40% of the sector, their fixed term contracts were coming to an end during this period, and a lot of you will have felt that pain. So I think our projections said that the sector spent around £800 million on energy prior to the Ukraine crisis, and that rose to 1.3 billion because of that market volatility. So it just shows how important it is about getting these decisions right when purchasing your energy. And hopefully the solution which I'm presenting today for you as schools will help you manage that risk better and that spend. So to date, we've probably engaged with more than 50 multi-academy trusts now, which equates to over 15,000 schools. 100% of these schools have all done their energy procurement through third parties, so they either used their local authorities or public sector buying organisations or use brokers, all of which are unregulated in the energy sector. So please do bear that in mind. And what we found, half of the contracts were fixed and half of the contracts were variable. So that's a quite interesting point, which we'll go on to in the coming slides. But what we've done is all of those schools that we've engaged with, we've benchmarked their spend over the last financial year, so from April 23 to March 24. And what we did was we benchmarked their actual bills, what they paid, compared to what they would have paid on our energy deal via the CCS framework energy basket. And you can see that significant savings that could be had there for electricity and gas, 36% and 45% respectively. And in some instances, especially with schools that we've engaged with more recently in the Cumbrian region, that was between 60 and 70%. It was a phenomenal saving that they could have achieved in being in our deal. So an overview of the service on the next slides and what we are offering schools currently and what we are offering prospective schools here today is schools join our DFE contract. So the DFE will be the contracting authority acting on your behalf. We help manage on board the school to our contract. So we help support with all of the paperwork for your schools. And the one requirement that we ask is you just continue to pay your bills directly. We manage the suppliers on your behalf. We have regular contract meetings with the two suppliers for gas and electricity, and we manage that on your behalf. And you would just come to us direct if you've got any issues or problems with your bills, etc. And the last two bullets there is kind of where we want to get to aspirationally in the future. It's about providing you with consistent benchmarking, so you can see your energy usage compared to a similar sized school near you, see what they're consuming, so you get a better idea on what you can do better in energy consumption. And then obviously working with DESNZ and the rest of central government about rolling out retrofitting, LED lighting, all those kinds of requirements, and smart meter rollout, of course. So how does DFE buy its energy? So DFE, along with central government, is mandated to buy its energy via the Crown Commercial Service. And we are mandated to buy that from the Crown Commercial Service's V30 basket. So the V stands for variable, it's a variable rate, and the 30 stands for the period of which the energy is bought in advance for its customers. So the energy is bought 30 months in advance. As I say, it's really important to say that the rate is variable, so it is subject to change. However, because they purchase it in advance, this is why government deem the V30 basket the least riskiest option. So if we went back to that slide with the Ukraine crisis, the CCS buyers just stopped buying for that basket during that period. They recognised the huge spike in increase, they just didn't buy any. They rode out the market spike. So they can mitigate short-term market fluctuations, as it says on the slide. So this just shows how we contract via Crown Commercial Service. So DFE is the customer, the main contract authority. We have a customer access agreement with Crown Commercial Service, which provides us with two contracts, one for gas with Total Energies and one for electricity with EDF. And our schools energy for service solution is that you as schools will become site additions to our contract. So you join our contract, you don't contract directly with the suppliers and Crown Commercial Service. So hopefully provides a little bit more ease of paperwork for you guys in terms of contracting. So how does the V30 basket compare to the fixed rate basket? So CCS offer a number of different baskets for their energy, so they provide locked and variable shorter-term baskets for its customers. But historically, the V30 basket has outperformed all of those baskets. That's because of the longer period in which they're trading, and they can ride out that volatility I've already said. So how to access our deal currently? As I previously mentioned, we do all of the heavy lifting in terms of the forms to help you fill in, of which there is a number of forms. But if you want more discrete information which is pertinent to your own school current arrangements, because obviously we'll all have different termination dates for your current contracts, we can support you with that. So please do get in touch with us, and we can help you, support you in making a better informed decision for your energy moving forward. I think the last bullet there is probably the most important one for you guys to take away, because the energy is purchased 30 months in advance. It is, to all intents and purposes, a 3-year contract. So please do bear that in mind, because your energy is being purchased in advance. It's a really important thing to take away. That being said, as some of your academy trusts and schools are being rebrokered, and you're losing academy trusts, there is a 30-month period within the contract where we can terminate those individual sites for you if you're losing them. However, as a trust, if you're joining, you would have to give 30 months notice to leave the contract, because your energy is purchased your energy is already being bought 30 months in advance. So it's a really important point to take away. So your existing contracts, obviously you'll all have contractual obligations currently, and you need to determine what your notice periods are in your current contracts and be able to serve notice accordingly within those contracts. Obviously we can't do that on your behalf. We can't contact your current suppliers. You guys have to do that, because you're the contracting authority for your existing contracts. But again, we can provide you with templates on how to broach your local authorities, your public sector buying organisations, all of those third parties. I think a key point and what we found with some schools is please inform both parties. So inform your suppliers and inform that third party where you brokered your deal from, because sometimes that communication is not coming across to both. And finally, some of you in this room may already be Crown Commercial Service customers for your energy and be customers in your own right. We can easily novate you across to our deal within the V30 basket, and it is a lot simpler process, and we've done quite a few of them in the last few months. This just gives a level of the actions that are required to onboard you to our deal. Obviously, letter of authority, which is fairly simple. Site addition templates, which is all of your metering numbers for your different sites. Obviously, novation template if you're a CCS customer. And we help and support you with your billing preferences, VAT exemption certificates. If most of you in this room are academy trusts, you'll be exempt from paying 20% VAT. And we help you do them forms. And consequently, you'll also be exempt from climate change levy as well if you're only paying 5% VAT. But we can support you all with that. Obviously, DD form, direct debit forms if you pay by direct debit, and portal access forms. What we have found with schools coming across, one problem is objections there on the last bullet. So if you are coming across to us, please ensure your bills are fully up to date, because your incumbent supplier doesn't want to lose you, and they use that as an excuse to keep you. So please ensure your bills are up to date if you want to come across. And consequently, what we've done as a department is we've also produced an energy cost recovery service via a framework. We've got a single supplier on that framework, and the cost recovery service is a really useful tool for you guys. If you know you've had billing problems in the past, please reach out and take a look at this service, because it can go back 5 years and look at 5 years worth of your bills that you've been paying and see if they can claw back any money that should belong to you and not with the supplier. It works on a no-win, no-fee basis. Obviously, there's a small commission to be had if they do claw back some money for you, but we've negotiated a really, really good rate. And there should be leaflets for both the energy service and the energy cost recovery service on your seat. So please do take a look at them and reach out to us for more information. And just this last slide there, you will be getting the slides. There's a very simple link to register your interest for the cost recovery service. So please do take up that offer. It really is a cracking deal, to be fair. And that's it for me. I'm happy to stay around, obviously, in this session, and I'll be on the stand, the schools commercial stands, because I'm guessing you'll have quite a lot of individual questions around your individual supply. So please do reach out to us. And thank you very much for your time.
Afternoon all. So, like Tony, in the same team. So my name's Chris McGonigal, and I'm going to here to talk to you very briefly around some work that we've just recently kicked off regarding financial services and banking solutions. So, I'm not going to ask you to put your hand up or anything, but I wonder how many of you in this room are still with the same bank that you opened your first bank account with when you were 18. I'm willing to bet it's quite a few. How many of you shop around for a better savings account? Again, probably not as many as I would like to think. And schools are the same. So research carried out by One Trust estimated that schools had missed out on £50 million worth of interest payments in 1 year. But with billions in cash reserves across the sector, we believe that number could be much higher. So our objective is twofold. It's a behavioural nudge to schools to shop around for a better financial product that meets their needs. And that might be a longer fixed term interest rate account that gets them more money and makes their money work a bit harder. And the other nudge is to the market for banks and other financial institutions to value the business that schools bring to them and to offer better products and services for them as well. To also make it easier for schools to shop around, and if you do wish to open an additional account or switch an account, to make that journey a lot easier. So what are we doing? So we're collaborating with internal teams across DFE, internal financial teams and policy teams to review what's out there, what guidance and advice we've got out there. We're also engaging with industry bodies and with schools to work out what they need, and so we've carried out a range of meetings, and we've got an internal and external working group. And we came across some common themes there. So I'm not going to read out all of these. So a couple of challenges schools face are identifying and switching to suitable products. There's varying levels of customer experience across the sector. Various types of products, some that are used by different schools. So some schools are using purchasing cards and getting a rebate on spend, and others aren't able to take advantage of some of that. And there's some added value, so some banks may well support financial education within schools as well, all of which schools really value. Some express the need for clearer guidance or additional guidance, and some would definitely want, and a real common theme was just understanding what is out there. Banks treat schools very much like small businesses, and the risk profile isn't really the same. So having products that schools can access easily and compare easily is certainly something that we want to support schools with. So we have developed a very simple comparison tool that's based off of an RFI that we carried out earlier this year. So we're engaging with various banks and other financial institutions. The banks that we are engaged with cover 90% of the sector, and we're aiming to engage with more banks and building societies moving forward. We're currently testing and developing a really simple comparison tool, which allows schools at a glance to see how much they'd be better off if they open an additional savings account. We're looking at other products as well, including current accounts and the charges that may come with some of those current accounts. And hopefully that will build this comparison tool a bit more to enable you to see what charges you would likely incur, as well as what additional interest or other payments you can get to make your money work that little bit harder for you. It will come with caveats. It's not financial advice. We're not necessarily recommending any of these products. We're simply seeking to raise awareness. It's not a substitute for following the existing guidance that DFE already published, and it certainly isn't a substitute for your own financial policy that you may or may not have within your local authority or your academy trust. So we'll continue to engage with external parties, and we'll continue to engage with industry bodies and schools. And if you want to be part of that, this is a tool that's very much in its infancy. We are really keen to test it and get feedback on what works, what doesn't, and what you'd like to see. So if you are interested in being part of that, please do email the team, and we'll come back to you in due course. And we will be looking at other products such as e-purchasing cards, virtual payment cards, and other payment solutions as well. So again, if you use them currently and you have an experience that you wish us to take into account, please do get in touch. We're around, I think, after this session as well, during the refreshment break. So if you've got any questions, please do seek us out. Thank you very much.
I think we've just got a couple of final slides, and then we are happy to take some questions from the floor as well. So just a couple of further things to follow up on from that. So as Chris has just alluded to there, we are really keen to make sure that anything that we do is really rooted in what you need. And we really need your support and feedback in terms of making this happen. So this is really an ask of, we really appreciate how busy you are, and that this will be something to fit into an already very busy schedule, but it really is valuable that you work with us if you can on this. So that QR code there will take you to a place to be able to register to take part in research. And it doesn't commit you to anything, it just registers your interest, and then we can work with you in terms of scheduling how that might work for you. But we want to make sure that anything that we test has your input on it, any kind of prototypes of these services, so things that we've discussed today, particularly on the energy side of things. We're working really hard internally in looking at how we can get a digital interface for you to be able to access that service, and anything that you can give us in terms of input and feedback on that will be really much appreciated by us. And I can see my colleagues in the front row here that will be working on that as well. So please do that, and we want to make sure that they work for you and that they're there to support you and are really user-friendly. In terms of staying up to date on these initiatives as they go, we do that QR code there will take you to the Buying for Schools blog. We post regularly on there, probably every 2 weeks or so, with a range of kind of content that supports in the commercial and buying space. So we are due an overview blog on the energy for schools very soon, so keep an eye out on that. You can subscribe to the blog and that will come through. We've also got a really popular one on there at the moment around the Procurement Act, and the support that you can get in terms of finding out further information, the e-learning that's available. So please do go to there and have a look. For those of you that are on LinkedIn as well, you can also follow Buying for Schools and be kept up to date with that. You'll receive a copy of these slides, and they've got different contact details on throughout, depending on which area of work you are particularly interested in. So please do reach out to us following the session. And as both the speakers have said today, we will be on the stand as well. So after this, if you want to come and grab us, then please do. But I think there's been a really interesting session from both speakers talking about kind of the key priorities that we're working on. So please do just remember we're here to support, and we can do that in terms of buying your energy. We've got something in place that can now support you to look back over the last 6 years and recover any kind of overpayments that you might have made with your energy as well, which operates on a no-win, no-fee. So I would encourage everyone to have a look at doing that, because as we said, there is a commission that's taken as part of that, but you keep the rest. So it's money that you wouldn't have had. So I'd just encourage everyone to look at that. And then we've got these new initiatives that we're looking at in the financial services space that we would really value your input on as well. So I think we've probably got 5 to 10 minutes now where we can take questions. I think we'll be able to field any kind of generic questions that you have about this work. And then if there's anything that's kind of specific to your school or trust, I just encourage you to come and grab one of us at the next break to discuss that in more detail. But I think there should be a roving mic somewhere. So I don't know if anyone's got an immediate question that they wanted to put to either. It'll probably be Chris or Tony that will be picking those up.
So these are my two favourite subjects. So I've just loved it. And I loved hearing, because we moved to CCS a few months ago. So when you said we can novate, I was cheering in the aisle. So really on banking, how do you, multi-part question, what about counterparty risk, which is kind of one of the things top of my mind, like we've got all our money with one bank. What do you do on checking that schools have got double authorization? Because I was quite shocked. I joined a couple of years ago, no double authorization on our payments. And that just seems like a huge, huge hole that I've never been asked a question about that. You get all sorts of surveys and things coming through and filling forms for the DFE. That's never been mentioned. And the other bit is on interest. Well, what can I do about in-month balances in my current account? So obviously I get my grant at the beginning of the month, goes down over time, but I'd like to generate interest in the meantime.
Yeah, so I think on the, I'll take the first part of that question and say I'm not sure, and be honest with you on that one. I think that's something for me to take away and possibly come back to you on. I'm not aware of specific guidance that we have on that. If we have it, it should be there. So the honest answer to the first part is I don't know. Regarding interest rates on your current account, again, like I said, there is a working group we've set up, which a number of academy trusts and industry bodies are part of, and you're absolutely right. There are some trusts that do this really, really well and have their funding come in at the beginning of the month. It's swept into another account. They're receiving up to 28 days, 21 days interest on it, and it's swept back to make sure that it's swept back in time to pay the bills fundamentally. So there's some trusts that are doing that well today. There are some trusts that don't have that risk appetite or that capacity to do so, and that's up to them as well. So I think there's best practice out there that we're hoping to showcase and develop and provide the right products and signposted products that can do that in the fullness of time. Again, it's not a consistent offering from every bank, and again, that's the other challenge that we want to do to the sector, which is the right type of a current account or savings account that's right for the schools, enable them to make their money work that bit harder in the way that you've suggested. Absolutely, in the fullness of time, we seek to do that. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, what about business?
The double authorisation piece, I'm going to confess, I don't know. I don't know why that's not been asked as from our part.
SRMA and says, do you do this and you have 3 audit committees? And
Yeah.
It wouldn't take much to ask a question like, okay, you have double authorisation on the bank account. This is all simple stuff.
It's a good question. It's a good point. It's well made. I don't have an answer for that, I'm afraid. I will take that away and come back to you.
Thank you. Question in terms of the energy first. Have you got resources available for trustee briefing, communication? Because one of the issues we have is that obviously the value is going to need trustee approval. So resources that we can use, share with to inform them. And then in terms of the cost comparison tool for the financial products, are these going to be, I'll use the quotes, safe sources of investment for us to go to, if you like? You've done the due diligence to make sure that we're not investing with an Icelandic bank that's going to go under.
Do you want me to take the first one? Yeah, so we've got plenty of resources that we can share that you guys can take away and speak to your decision makers. So just contact the energy inbox and we can help support you with all of that. Not a problem.
It's a good question, defending safe. So some banks had great credit ratings right up to the final moment that they went under, didn't they? So it's worth keeping that in mind. Again, it is something that in the fullness of time that we're exploring and trying and coming up with those definitions as well. The RFI that we conducted in November, the institutions that responded were UK-based, UK-regulated, quite well-known brands that everyone in this room will be aware of. There's a couple of challenger banks in there too. There was one in particular that I hadn't heard of either. And you're absolutely right. It's what level of due diligence do we do? We're aware that it can be perceived that if it's on a DFE site, we're endorsing it. As I mentioned earlier, we're not looking to endorse one. We're looking to raise awareness. There is an element of trusts will have to still do their own due diligence, and because it will have to sail past your own internal governance as well as to what do you want to do? Do you want to put your money in with that certain bank or not otherwise? We're also aware of cash management platforms out there that are in use by a number of trusts as well. Again, we're not endorsing or condemning them one way or the other, but it's something that we're engaging just to understand a bit more around that range of bank accounts that are there. Ultimately, we want this comparison tool to be relatively simple and straightforward that the majority of the sector can use freely and easily without too much difficulty. I'm very aware that there, like I said earlier, there are some trusts that have that capacity and capability to really go in to look at all different types of investment vehicles and other interest accounts with institutions that are maybe less well known but might have a high credit rating. It's a work in progress, so by all means we're really happy to take that input and feed that into the group as we develop this.
Hi, could you clarify something for me about not having to pay CCL if you were paying VAT at different rates? That was something that was new to me, and I just wanted to get my head around what you were saying.
Yeah, so if your school or trust qualifies for 5% VAT, and if you're an academy trust, you do, you're automatically exempt from climate change levy on your bills. So if you're paying 5% VAT, you should not be paying climate change levy on your invoices. You're welcome.
Just a short question from me. Just going back to the energy contract, if all queries go through you, if we have a billing query, would that also go through the DFE, or can we do that direct with the supplier? You
can do it direct with the supplier. So there's a two working day KPI on the customer services at the suppliers to turn your query around. So at that point, if you're not happy, you would then contact us direct to take up that on your behalf.
Sorry, perhaps it's a naive question, but if DFE, for anything to do with commodities, whether it is energy or water, there is no benefit of having autonomy at school level in terms. So if you really can get a better deal, why are you not more directive? It's public money at the end of the day. So why would we let people choose other deals? Perhaps not great for suppliers, but.
It's probably not for me to answer that. You probably need to ask ministers that. But you know, if you're an academy trust, that's what autonomy brings. Being an academy trust, it gives you that freedom of making decisions in terms of where you contract for energy supply, as I've just talked about, or any other commodity for that matter. It gives you that freedom of choice, being an academy.
Sorry. Given the situation with the water market at the moment, is there any plans to bring that into the fold?
Not to my knowledge, unfortunately.
I've got 28% increase on my bills.
Sorry.
I think CCS do direct CCS.
Yeah, I think you can now compete your water supply, can't you? Whereas you couldn't before. So yeah. Please do look at what the literature on CCS would be my first recommendation.
I think that is time for us. So, like I say, if there are any more questions, please do come and grab us. We'll be at the stand, and all of our contact details will be circulated. So if you want to get in touch with us after the event as well, then please do. Thank you.